Thanks for tuning in to Seven Figure Fitness Business. Now, today we have a particularly special guest who is going to be with us. Now, it's A.J Morton, who is the creator of Fitpro Mentorship Review, which is arguably the most influential review site in the entire Fitpro Mentor industry. Thank you so much for joining us today, AJ.
Thank you, AP and AG. I hate to call you guys Andrew, but yeah, thanks so much for that and that incredible introduction, man. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys so much and so happy that we have connected recently, man. I'm excited to dive into this today.
Yeah, well, we've been wanting to have you on for quite some time because we've sort of been saying that our views are very well aligned with yours. We've said on this podcast before that the reason why we started Systems by Design is because we wanted to ethically take over the Fitpro Mentor space by doing an amazing job and really helping our clients in a way that we felt was even above the standards set by the industry so far. I think that leads really well into the question of why exactly did you start the group Fitpro Mentor Review? And can you give us a little bit of a backstory on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're very much aligned because this group sprouted out of the need and the demand desperately for integrity within the fitness business coaching industry. So really, I think it was just a natural progression, something that really needed to happen. And truthfully, I was really surprised that it didn't already exist when I put it in place. But yeah, let's go back for a second. So I've been in fitness for 12 years. And when this group was kind of coming about, I had been in fitness probably for about 6 years at that time. And I was in Chicago, which is where I'm from. And I have a family. I have a wife and 2 kids. I was renting space out of a studio running a small group women's program, a small group women's weight loss program. And I was looking to maximize my business, therefore maximize my lifestyle, and really provide a certain level of comfort for me and my family. So in an effort to do that, I was on Facebook. And the only way to really look at business coaches at that time was really who was on your feed, like who are you following, who's following you, who's posting. And there was no place to there's no central area where you get to look at a list of business coaches or anything like that. So I ended up finding a business coach who was from the UK, and he attracted to me because he had a lot of success. He was traveling. He had just moved to Spain or something like that. And it was all very appealing to me. And so I got on a call with him. And my wife wasn't home at the time. She was out with the kids, and everything sounded good. And I was like, great, I want this. I'll pay anything, right? Like I'm just like any other Fit Pro out there. I want a certain lifestyle. I'm willing to spend a lot of money. If I'm going to make 100K, I'm more than happy to spend 8, 10, 12K, 15K in order to make that happen. To me, that's a no-brainer. So we got on the phone. He said, it's 8K. I'm like, awesome. I got to go. Let me talk to my wife. This sounds amazing. I'm ready to go. He's like, if you get off the phone, it's 12K. I said, I'm going to get divorced if I do this without telling her. He said, it's 12K if you get off the phone. I said, well, okay, I got to get off the phone. So I went, got off the phone, talked to my wife, explained to her what's going on. I said, it's going to be 12K for this program. We're both we're into investing in ourselves and in each other. And so as supportive as she always is, she gave me the go ahead. And so we did it. We put it on multiple credit cards. And guys, this is money that we did not have. I mean, my business was going well, but I was looking to scale. It needed a lot of room. This was going to be a massive stretch for me and my family. So we were using money we didn't have. And we did it. We got into the program, and the deliverables were just really almost barely there. Because he's in the UK, which is fine. There wasn't a lot of contact with him frequently enough for, I think, someone who's spending $12,000 should be. I got a pre-recorded video once a week that was emailed to me, and that was pretty much it. And what I had wanted out of that program was, number one, first and foremost, I expressed to him, I wanted to be a better coach. So I really wanted to learn how he's getting these people really great results. That's my most important thing, right? I want to actually impact people. And yes, by doing that, I want to be able to charge really good money for it too, right? High ticket coaching, I want high ticket results. And the only result that I got from that program, honestly, was I hard sold a poor girl into a $3,000 program that I didn't know how to deliver on because he didn't teach me that. So did I get an ROI? Yeah. Is it the ROI that I wanted? No, far from it. In fact, I ended up having to spend a lot of extra time with her trying to deliver her the result that I wanted to initially, because I felt so bad. I felt so guilty for taking this girl's money that was probably hard for her to come up with and try to get her a result that I had promised her initially. So needless to say, it was not worth the investment. I got out of that program early. I said, hey, I'm done. This is like not what I had signed up for, not what I thought it was going to be. And immediately I was like, man, had there been any place where I could have like looked up reviews from this guy, and I don't mean like the cherry picked ones that like these people send to you like on their own, right?
Social media.
Yeah, right. Like that's not really helpful at all. So I was like, man, if there was like a place where I can have some unbiased reviews of people's experiences, that would be amazing. And so I literally just started the group Fitpro Mentorship Review, and I set it up. I garnered a lot of attention right away, shared it with a couple of big names in the industry, and they were really supportive and they spread it out. And the funny thing is, a bunch of people from that same cohort, from that same mentor, ended up coming in the group and leaving similar reviews about their experiences as I did. So it was really comforting to know that there's other people out there who are sharing the same experience that I had. And then I'm not this like one-off person who just happened to be massively overcharged and under-delivered upon signing up for the program. So the group was really just set up initially as just a really safe space for people to openly talk about their experiences with mentors, courses, anything that could be sold to Fitpros. And I was still running my business at the time, so I kind of just let it do its thing. I was moderating a little bit. I would approve people every once in a while when they requested to join the group. And the group grew really steadily, organically throughout the years as I was just continuing to run my fitness business.
It's crazy. Like I used to be a member of that group before, obviously, when I went into the business coaching sort of space.
Yeah.
And the way that I learned about the group was another guy in a coaching program that I was in told me about it. And he said, look at the reviews that our mentor was getting, right? And it's just really like, I think there's a huge element of word of mouth of people learning about your group that way.
Yeah, exactly. And it always comes up because someone in some group will be like, hey, has anybody worked with this person? And then someone will be like, hey, join A.J Morton's group, Fitpro Mentorship Review. That's the only place where you can get unbiased reviews. And so that happens a lot, which is great. And it's by design. It's what I want to have happen. I want people talking about people before they hire them. Like, I can't believe so many people, even now, are just jumping into programs without a whole lot of social proof other than what's being given to them by the person that they're about to give their money to.
One of the points that is so important here to point out is the reason it is such a great independent review site is because you specifically do not allow any mentors in there. If you find someone in there, you kick them out, and it's kind of like they're up to something shady. And the way I see it is that there's two types of mentors. There's those that are absolutely terrified of your group and what's being said about them, and with good reason. And then there's those that are really happy that it exists. And I think it's such an important thing to have an independent review of the industry. Otherwise, people can get away with having an amazing sales process, an amazing marketing process, but a terrible delivery on those promises.
And that's exactly kind of what you're seeing in the industry is excellent marketers, really great marketers pouring endless amounts of money into their marketing campaigns and taking people's really hard-earned money and then really, really dropping the ball on delivery. And are we allowed to swear?
Yeah.
Not really like giving a shit about the client and about their results and about the money that they were just paid. Like, I can't tell you the stories I hear. Like, I remember talking to this one new member of mine who reached out to me, who was in a similar program that we all know about. And he's like, hey, look, I just got out of the Army, first of all. So he was serving our country. And I just gave my last $10,000 in my Roth IRA to this program. Yeah. And it was terrible. And I got on a 30-minute free call with him like I do with all my members if they want. And he said, AJ, that 30 minutes was way more valuable than the $10,000 in 90 days I just spent with this other guy. And that to me is like the entire issue with the industry. It just should not be the case. I'm not a business coach. Like, what I have to say should not be more valuable than what you're getting for $10,000 in a 90-day program.
I think what happens with a lot of these guys is they start off with business coaching business and they might be helping one or two people, but then they start to systemize these people and they're chasing more and more money. And as soon as they want more money, what happens is the quality of the program diminishes because they don't have the systems and the support to actually keep on providing for those customers. It's one thing to have consulting and talk to someone one-on-one. If you're following someone's success, that's really easy to do. But actually to have a system, a program that gets people results without specifically having one-on-one sessions all the time is going to be is massive, right? And that's what I see personally. A lot of these guys is they just don't have the systems in place.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And you're right. It always happens at scale. Whenever they're trying to scale, that's when things start to kind of fall apart. I'm very friendly with lots of mentors, especially the one that I promote within the group, because I personally vet them to make sure that I can put my name behind them. But what's happening worse than just like not having the systems is that they truly don't care about the client. Because even though they don't have the systems, like for me, if I built something too fast, my customer service would be on point because I'd still want people to be happy. And it's not their fault that my systems aren't in place the way that they should be. But the way that in the group, people are posting screenshots of conversations with these guys, and the customer service is absolutely terrible. In my opinion, the customer service speaks to really figuring out why the mentor is really in the industry, right? If I drop the ball, my customer service is going to show you that I still care about you and that I'm here for the right reasons. But what we're seeing with a lot of these kind of sham mentors and people who are just in the space for the money is that once you pay them $10K, it's kind of like you're working for them. God forbid you need a link that you can't find, or a document that's sent to you, or a cheat sheet that's sent to you. And the rudeness that happens in these conversations and just like the lack of responsibility is jaw-dropping, and just like it shows an incredible disdain and lack of respect for the fitness industry and fitness coaches. Like, we're all here to make an impact, but these guys are just really here to make money. And it's very obvious. They don't really try and hide it.
Well, when you look at the average income of someone in the fitness industry, it's often not that high. And for these people charging programs that are high ticket in the coaching space, 5 figures at least, that can be that person's life savings, or it might be that they don't even have that. Like you said, you have to get multiple credit cards to do it. So it isn't a decision that should be taken lightly without at least understanding that you have. I think the goal of any program should be that it helps you get a return on investment, but also it helps you avoid really like key mistakes and get to your goal faster and with a much greater level of certainty. Now, it's not to say that any program is going to be able to provide 100%, because there's 2 elements here. There's the program and the mentors, and then there's also the participant of the program. So obviously the job of the mentor needs to be to do everything that they can in the delivery and the systemization and the support that's delivered, so that that customer, that Fitpro can, as long as they do their part, they're going to have a lot of success.
Yeah, and I want to be clear too. A lot of people think that I'm just on the side of Fitpros and my group is a bunch of like whiners who aren't willing to do the work. And that's not the case. I'm here to like set the playing field level, because Fitpros are, I'm not going to say equally as bad, but like they're dropping the ball on their end of the responsibility too. Sometimes people are like, I'm paying you $10,000, so it should just be done. I should be making 6 figures. They don't really realize the work that goes into it. Building a business is a long game. I don't care what your 90-day promise is, or what your 90-day offer is, or how fast you could build your program. It's going to take someone a significant amount of time and effort and energy and money to make an actually profitable and sustainable business, not a job, but an actual business where people are actually leveraged with their time. And I think that's the major difference, really.
Completely. Are there any key traits or things that a Fitpro should be specifically looking for in prospective mentors to make sure that it's a good fit?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things, and it's a first impression, it's right off the bat. I want people to pay very close attention to how a mentor or a VA of a mentor is reaching out to you. How are they getting in touch with you? Because chances are, if you're getting a cold DM from a mentor, what do you think their tactic is going to be that they're going to teach you? And then you need to figure out if that's something that's aligned with you. If you're getting a cold DM, you're about to be taught how to do cold DMs. So I think that should be incredibly obvious, but I don't think it is to everyone. So I think that should be noted. But also, I think that we need to just do away with being so susceptible to flashy marketing. Don't be so intrigued by cars or by money or by flashy clothes or vacations or beach shots. Like, that shit is done. It's over with. That's not how actual business is. I don't care how successful you are. Like, people I know who are super successful in business are still working their asses off. They're still showing up. They sometimes have nice things, but they're not really talking about it. And I find that the people who are actually ethical, actually have money, and are actually in it for the right reasons, don't talk about it.
They don't have a point to prove.
Yeah.
They don't have a point to prove.
So I guess you're saying is that a really good looking guy or girl who's shredded doesn't necessarily mean that they're a great business coach.
Not, yeah. It's so much more than that. Yes. Oh God. And then I feel like we're getting into the influencer conversation too. I just think you got to do your research. So a little bit after I had my flop with a business coach, a few years after that, I was running my business. It was going really well. And I had a really bad summer and I really had a hard time recovering from that. I worked with a lot of moms. And so their schedules changed with their children's schools. And there was a big exodus from my coaching program and I couldn't recover. And so I ended up pouring a lot more money into advertising. I was like funnel hacking other people's programs because I was really good at that and I could put things together. And I was like hemorrhaging money. My business was going down. And in an effort to help save that, I actually we kind of just put my stuff on hold and we're like, hey, we've been investing in me, our whole marriage. I was talking to my wife and she said, I'd like to start taking the reins to do something for myself. And so we invested, I let her, even though I have Fitpro Mentorship Review, I'm still a husband, right? So I still let her choose without giving my opinion who she wanted to work with. So she went out and found someone, or should I say someone found her. And it was another mentor from the UK. And she had a really big following. It's all she talked about, following. And we signed up with her. It was 12K. Deliverables were absolute shit. We ended up learning later, she got her following because she was a Gymshark ambassador or something like that, turned business coach. And you just really have to look out for these things because a big following doesn't mean that they're making money at all. It doesn't mean anything, literally. So people really have to get used to not looking at those vanity metrics and getting too sucked into what these people are offering. I think was even worse than the one that I hired because she even admitted wrongdoing and promised us a refund. She's like, hey, I'll send you, at the time she owed us another $4,500. She said, I'll send it to you. You'll have it by Christmas. This was 2018. I still haven't gotten it back. I ended up emailing her.
Admitting wrongdoing, that kind of shows something, but admitting it and then not sending the money, that's even worse. That's rubbing salt.
It's so much worse because then she blamed us not getting the money on the credit card company and saying that it's on my credit card company to do so. And so I was emailing her and then you could just see the people in this space, guys, are not who they say they are. Her dad ended up emailing me and telling me to stop emailing her. I said, dude, you don't even know what your daughter's up to. I mean, she's ripping people off for $12,000 and she has no idea what she's doing. So
it's insanity, isn't it? It's almost like as people who are being marketed to, we look for things that are glamorous. We want a glamorous lifestyle. If you see someone with a Ferrari, it's instinct that you want a Ferrari. You see someone who's traveling the world, living the laptop lifestyle, taking photos out and about. It's like, how can I have that lifestyle? And so we tend to go that way. But in reality, the way that perhaps you're suggesting that we think about it is when we see that glamorous lifestyle, that's more of a indication that we should go out and research that person more.
Yeah, I think it's a red flag. Yeah. I think if something like that, you have to think everything is by design. If it makes you feel a certain way, it's by design. So step back from your emotions and get logical about it and go do your homework and do your research. And that doesn't mean looking at the comments, which are flooded with the mentor's reviews and testimonials that he put there himself. Go and find some ex-students, some people who maybe didn't have a good time. And look, in every program, there are people who didn't have a good experience, and that's okay because not every program works for everybody. Just like every weight loss program doesn't work for every weight loss client. It's all good. But go talk to some people who maybe didn't have that great of an experience and just see what it was about them or that experience that just didn't really mesh. Sometimes just things are not a good fit, even if it's a great program. Sometimes things just aren't a good mesh.
I know you have a specific template that you actually give to people in your group so that they can do a review. What are the types of questions that you actually ask on that so that they can kind of uncover and unveil how they actually went without all the fluffy BS?
Yeah. So, we uncover the whole thing. We want people listing price. We want people listing the name of the program, when they were a part of the program so people understand if it's relevant or not. How that person, we actually ask how you are marketed to. So how you were approached. So that's on there too. And then we get into the deliverables, what you actually got in the program, and then talk about your experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. We only accept factual reviews. We're not here to bash people's reputations just for the sake of it. And we do fact check, and we will, or I should say I do fact check, and I will moderate and mediate if I need to. If I feel like there's a mismatch in stories based on the mentor and the review that came in, I might have a conversation with both of them and see what I could figure out. Most of the time, almost all the time, it's really just a lack of communication on both parts of the line here. Whether someone's dropping the ball on delivery or someone's dropping the ball on delivery and the Fitpro just isn't saying anything, which is also their responsibility. Like Fitpros, you're not immune to the responsibility of being in a mentorship program. If you sign up, you're really signing up to do everything that you're asked to do to a T, and ask questions if you're having any problems, if anything comes up. For people who don't bring their concerns to mentors, I don't have sympathy, because all you have to do is raise your hand and let them know that you need help. It's not their job to hold your hand. It's not their job to check in with you unless it's stated otherwise beforehand. But I'm a big proponent of speaking up. If you are an unsatisfied customer or something's not working for you or you have a concern, you need to raise your hand. It's not the job of the mentor to do that, again, unless it's stated otherwise beforehand.
I had an example of this just the other day. I was speaking to a really, really great guy for a potential sales consultation for our program. And he was in another program and he said no ROI. And so of course I started to think, oh, poor guy, he's in a bad program. But when I dug and asked a few more questions, I found out that he legitimately hasn't really asked any questions since he got into the group. He's just been sort of slowly sort of dying a slow death in there. And I just had to sort of say, well, look, man, like you're the problem. Like you're being a bad client. You need to go and ask these people how to get the help, right? Because you know you're dealing with bad mentors when you ask them a question and they're not able to solve it or give you the level of support. But ultimately, the buck stops with you if you've got a problem or you're failing in some way and you don't speak up. That's a really important distinction, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And like, we won't allow a review to go up if someone didn't raise their hand and say, I needed help and no one ever got to me. Because again, when you sign up, that's your responsibility. The mentor's responsibility is to support you in every way they possibly can, give you the tools that they say they're going to up front, and obviously have some decent deliverables to help you accomplish the goal that they're putting out in their offer. But your responsibility is to action that program to a T and ask for help whenever you need it. Got to do it.
What do you think about the fact that a lot of people in the mentor space in fitness are no longer actually running their own fitness business? Do you think that does potentially have any impact on the quality of their program and their ability to help their clients?
I think it can. I don't think it's the end all be all, to be honest with you, because I think what I like about some of the coaches who may not have a current fitness business is that they still have a good head for business. And I think it's really important. I also think that they will end up staying current and up to date based on the clients that they're working with, based on the program that they're updating. Hopefully that they're actually updating programs. But I just think it's actually that much better when a program or a mentor actually also simultaneously runs a successful fitness business. I just think it gives you more insight. I think it gives you more advantage. You guys can test and then give the best results down to your students. So I don't know if I'm entirely in the frame of mind that you have to be running a fitness business at the same time. And truthfully, people aren't looking, a lot of people actually request non-fitness specific business coaches because a lot of what's going on in the fitness business coaching industry isn't business coaching. It is, here's what I did, let's see if it works for you, which is not a business. A lot of these people also are teaching one model because it happened to be successful for them. They don't know how to do anything else, but they were really successful with this one model. And that's not business coaching either. So I think it's a big advantage when, again, someone is running a fitness business at the same time. But I think just having a good head about business and being really business savvy and having actual business knowledge is more important, I would say.
I think one thing that's really important, like the biggest thing that most people face is generally going to be getting leads. At some point after they've solved their deliverables, most coaches are coaches. They understand how to coach their clients because they've been doing that for years, whether that's in a gym or whatnot. But the skill that a lot of people need to learn is how to become a marketer, right? And, you know, there is the entire copy paste, hey, this is what I've done. But then there's actually, well, you're not anymore a coach. You're also got to put on a totally different hat and you've got to become a marketer. So I can completely understand going and finding someone who's maybe slightly out of industry could very well work if you find the right person, as long as you're actually thinking about, all right, what's the next direction? How am I going to learn these skills that are going to allow me to have an online business?
Yeah, that's true. And that's why I like the fitness background. Again, I think it's an advantage because you understand the wants and the needs and the aches and the pains of a Fitpro, whereas a normal person who is just really good at business might not have those same insights into specifically what's going on in the fitness space.
And I think from what you said earlier, AJ, it's actually a really fair point. No mentor has to be in the space, But if they're not in the space, they have to have the discipline to continue adapting and evolving with the industry that they're actually mentoring in. And that can be the problem, is that there are some, and I would say that they are very much in the minority that do that, but then the vast majority do not. And I think, they're using tactics that have become very stale, old, out of date, and less effective. And that's basically just their one trick play at the industry still. So that's why there's a lot of issues for the members of their program.
100%. I mean, if you're a mentor and you're not updating your program like a couple times a year, I would say, then I just don't know what you're doing. Facebook changes so fast. Algorithms change fast. New platforms come out. Like, if you are running the same program that you did last year, I don't understand what you're doing in this space. You just don't really care about the deliverable or about the results of your client if you're not willing to adapt your program and actually make improvements to it.
Yeah, the rate at which the industry evolves is just so rapid, particularly of late. It's like there are all sorts of different funnels. Like back in the day, you used to just be able to run someone to a form and grab their details, give them a call and sign and book people in for a call. And then all of a sudden it's become like webinars were a big thing, 7-day challenges. And then the saturation point happens and cold DMing, and then everyone's cold DMing and it just pisses everybody off. And then as we move forward, more and more advanced things, until more recently, what's happened with, for example, Facebook pixels. And that's kind of changing the landscape. And I just see that so many people aren't in any way keeping up with all of that sort of stuff. And that's one of the things that we hear a lot. Like when I speak to members in our program, they're just like, we ran into this situation, things stopped working and we couldn't fix it. Do you think it's important that there's an element of having one-on-one when you're working with a mentor?
I think there needs to be access to one-on-one. I don't think it needs to be there for everyone, but I think that the people who need it should be able to utilize it. And I think that's what most people want. After a certain point, I kind of think like the foundational stuff is the same, right? I don't think people really need one-on-one until they get to a more like advanced place where they need more of a consultant to go back and forth with for their specific situation. And so, yeah, I do think there needs to be a one-on-one component to it, at least like an optional one, because I think that absolutely provides the best results specifically for that particular person, unless you're just niched down so specifically that you don't need that. Even still, I just don't even see how you'd get past it. I prefer to have programs that have a one-on-one element, because I know myself, and I've seen a lot of programs, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of programs at this point. And like, I am horrible with self-paced programs. They don't get done. I skip through them. It's like a race. You gave me some modules and I'm going to finish them today. But I think having the one-on-one element speaks to having a more personalized approach to the tactics and strategies that are being tried, and just a more personal relationship with the mentorship too. It's like, it'll feel like an actual mentorship. I think we all need to go back and figure out like, what's the actual definition of a mentor? Are you taking a course, or are you actually part of a mentorship program where someone actually is caring for you and walking you through this journey that is building a business?
Yeah, is it a product or is it a service? And I think that's the problem. Like, people sell something as a service and they deliver a product with no support. And what you said there, I think is exactly right. It's like, as you get more and more advanced, having more sort of one-on-one becomes more important, because the problems that you face in your business become more specific. Andrew, myself, Iggy, we have about 5 mentors at the moment in different parts of our lives and so forth. But when we're looking for a mentor, what we want is someone who can actually give us an external set of eyes. It's kind of like with the health business, we've got someone who's not in the health industry ourselves, but we're looking at bigger business stuff. And he's able to then look in there, that third set of eyes, and actually be able to view the business and kind of see the matrix as to what's happening, which sometimes we can't see ourselves.
Yeah. So I agree with what you're saying about access to one-on-one being potentially key. And it all depends on the customer once again. Like, we all know in weight loss, right? You get that person that joins up to your program, you barely speak to them, but they lose 40 to 50 pounds in like a crazy short amount of time. And then you get that person who is working their ass off, and it's just every single pound is a hard slog. And that's one of the great things about a group like this, whether it's Fitpro Mentor or whether it's fitness, is we're allowed as the runners of that program to really focus our attention on those that need it most. And I think that what I see as mentorship is that it needs to be set up so that every single person has access to the type of support that will allow them to succeed, whether it's a course and they're just an implementer, whether it's group support in like a written forum, whether it's like live sessions, or whether it's when required, when that isn't enough, the ability to promptly get on a one-on-one and have someone say, I can see exactly where you're going wrong. This is what you need to do. If you can provide those layers of support, then really there's no excuse not for anyone not to be successful.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, the mentorship is sound, right? If all that stuff's in place, then it's now the responsibility of the client or the student to be successful, right? The support is all there. No one's going to do the work for you. The mentor is not supposed to do the work for you. So at that point, if you're fully supported in an excellent program like that, then yeah, all you have to do is do the work, literally.
I think the difference between good mentors, bad mentors, great mentors, exceptional mentors is there's always going to be a range of people in a mentor course. You've got your top 10% who are always the implementers, who always seem to get an ROI on whatever program they need. But you've got other people, for example, who have less tech skills. They're starting out a little bit further. And an exceptional mentor is really someone who's able to get results with everyone in their program, not just that 10% at the top.
Right. Well, and the problem with that is a lot of times it's not the case because at least the bad mentors are not vetting people as they come in. So you're having people in different points in their businesses who maybe aren't even a good fit for that program. And those people actually can't be helped because they're not supposed to be there in the first place. And even despite raising their concerns, they're not going to get their money back and they're not going to get help. And they're not going to get their voice heard other than just go back and do what you're supposed to be doing in the course, which just isn't mentoring. It's not helpful. You don't care. And it's not worth 10K.
I have people quite often ask me during a sales consult, what makes up your 10%? What are the characteristics of the people that are in the 10%? And I usually break it down to three things, two of which I believe are completely essential. The first two and the most important are that they need to be a hard worker, right? You need to diligently apply the information that you learn to your business. Number two is probably the most important. You need to be an open and an honest communicator. So if you have questions, concerns, if you need feedback, don't sort of just sink down and be like, hi, I need some help. You need to actually speak up and say, look, I'm having a hard time. And the third one, which isn't essential because you can staff it out, but it doesn't hurt if they have some charisma, because then obviously they can sell and they can look really good on video. That can be fixed if they have a face and someone who can do sales. But the first two, if you do not communicate openly and honestly, you are going to really struggle. If you don't apply what you learn, you are going to really struggle.
Yeah, those are the top two. Like those are your most important things you have to do as a student. And I think as a mentor, you have to be open to those things. But as a client and as a student, you have to communicate everything. I think over communication is probably the better tactic, right? If anything, much better than under. Otherwise, just no one knows that you need help. I hear all the time, I talk to hundreds of members every week about their situations. And a lot of times I'll be hearing something about, oh, I haven't made a sale yet, or I haven't heard from this person in a little while. And I say, have you reached out to him? No, I don't feel like I should. Well, I don't feel like that's right. If your weight loss client was having a hard time in your program, wouldn't you want them to come to you and reach out to you and ask for help? Yeah. All right. Same thing.
I will add one more thing that I think is really important that I see like the very top of the top who are in our program. And I think this is something really great for anyone who wants to understand the characteristics of someone who's truly successful, and it's fearlessness, having the ability to go all in, to make tough decisions, to be able to invest money. And when they see a positive ROI, to invest more and more money because they know that they're winning. And when I look at the top, particularly the top two guys in our program, that's exactly what they do. It's just like they want to go, and then they want to go again, and then they want to go again. And they've got that drive and that determination that at all costs, they're going to win.
Yeah. And I think, let's all be honest, this isn't that hard, right? Like the stuff that you have to do to be successful, it's simple. It's only hard because we tend to get in our own way. Like you guys are pretty much just managing people, right? The program's the same. You understand their businesses, right? It's managing the people and their expectations and their fear of whether it's showing up online or showing up on sales calls. Like those are the things that you have to get over. But business building is really simple. You just, like you said, it's people who are confident or who can gain confidence and just not be scared of putting themselves out there, not being scared of rejection, not being scared of crickets if you post an offer or a post about something and expect something back. You just really have to go into this with no expectation of what's going to happen and just completely dive in. And I don't see that too often, but you're 100% right. The people that go in and just execute, ask questions where they need to, and then go back to executing and just put it out there and repeat and rinse and repeat. Those are the people, and they never quit. Those are the people who are going to be successful, 100%.
Yeah, you're right. That's the best thing I think you said there was rinse, repeat, putting in the reps. Same way in the gym. You've got to go there. You've got to do the same thing over and over. Sure, you're going to periodize your program, But over a long period of time, you're going to be extremely successful if you keep on doing the same thing. And I think that's one thing. It's like business can be really, really simple, but it can also take a bit of a toll. A lot of the time, like I kind of joke about this, but it does sometimes feel like you're in a constant state of bipolar, that some things are easy, some things are hard. And as someone who's going into business, you've got to understand and be able to ride that and be able to enjoy the ups and downs, because that's what business is. If business was easy, like we'd all be billionaires.
Yeah. And I think it's part of it too. Like people are not enjoying the process. They just partly in the marketing, right? Like you're promising 6 figures or 7 figures, but what's actually like the enjoyable and like what you're actually going to do is you're about to embark on this journey of self-development, self-improvement, business development, conquering your fears. Like you're going to be a different person. If you're making like less than $10,000 a month right now, you will be a different person at greater than 6 figures, at 7 figures. It's a transformational shift that has to happen in order for you to get the hell out of your own way enough to put yourself out there and create products and services and deliver on them that people will actually buy at a sustainable rate. But yeah, I think it's so true. I think people just need to get out of their own way is really the bottom line.
100%.
I had one final line of questioning, AJ, just to finish things off. Are there any specific questions? Like say I'm a Fitpro and I'm on the phone to you, you're a prospective mentor. What type of questions should I be asking you during that sales process to really get a good feel as to whether you might be the right fit for me or not?
I think one of the few questions you should ask is amongst all the normal stuff, but like I think you should ask like, who is your program for and who isn't it for? Because if it's for everyone, then I would probably run away, because there's just no way that they're getting results for every single client that comes in their program. So I would ask who it's for and who it's not for, and make sure you fit in that category. And then I might ask something about what the support is like. Like, hey, if something goes wrong, where do I take that issue? Or if I'm not happy, or if I'm not getting a result, or if this tactic or if this post didn't work for me, where am I supposed to go to get a little bit of feedback and bounce that off someone? If they don't have an answer for you, then I would also probably run, because it's going to happen. You're going to get crickets on a post and you're going to want to know why. And you're going to need someone to actually ask a question to. And there should probably be someone there, if you're paying good money, to answer that question for you. I might also ask, I think a lot of the results that we're seeing in the industry are front-end revenue based. I might also ask, what is your re-sign rate? Like, are people actually holding on to the business that you're getting them? Or are you just making people $100,000 in a month and then they can't make money again because you've ruined their reputations by doing a bait and switch, or you haven't given them the systems to put in place so that they can actually serve the people that you just flooded them with, which I think is equally as bad. And I would ask I've probably never answered like this before, but I might ask to talk to someone who maybe didn't have a great experience in that program and see if they'll even do that. Again, I haven't answered like a question like that before, but I just think it'd be interesting. I think if you're really confident in your program and in your service, maybe you wouldn't mind handing them off to someone who had like a frictional mishap with your program. Maybe, again, it wasn't a good fit, something like that. But yeah, I would make it about you. I think you guys as Fit Pros need to realize that you are the paying customer, you're the client, and you're paying them really good money. So you should know what you're getting for that. Ask what your responsibilities are as a student in the program, and ask what their responsibilities are as your mentor. And I would also get all that stuff in writing. I think your responsibilities should be in the contract, and I think their responsibilities should be there as well. So it's all very clear, and the expectations are set beforehand. Expectations, I think, are really key. We didn't talk about that much today, but I think knowing what your expectations are and knowing what the mentor expects of you is absolutely key. So then everyone's on the same page. Again, everyone's over communicated, if anything. I think those are great places to start.
I liked sort of the thing about when you said, who do you not help as well? Because it's very important. If someone comes along into my world in sales and I just know that they're not the right fit for us, it's actually at best parties, like both parties' best interest, not to sell that person in, because A, they're not who we help. So helping them is going to be clunky and it's going to be hard for us, and it's going to take our time away from who we really serve. And so it's also not the right thing for that member as well, because they're not going to be helped in the best way possible. And I think what I would encourage people to do is, if you know that you have a specific problem, is to say, well, this is my exact problem. Do you feel confident that you can help me solve this? And if the answer is yes, then it should be a really good match, depending on the fact that that person is an honest and integral person. But if the answer is yes and you believe them, then that's a really good start.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if you can identify your bottleneck or where you specifically need help. And a lot of people really don't know that. Yeah, if you have enough information about your business that you have a specific need, make sure that they can meet that need and serve that need for you. Absolutely.
Without fluff, because fluff and evasiveness on questions like that is a very, very, very big red flag that you need to pin them to the wall and say, you're not going to get the how to exactly, because obviously that's going to be part of that program, but they need to be able to give you a clear understanding of how success is going to look.
A lot of people, it's natural, like they say in sales, that people buy emotionally, right? And I think going into a sales call, you need to understand what emotion is and also be able to buy logically as well, be able to hear all the facts and make decisions from a logical perspective rather than just how you're feeling and how much that's going to change your life.
Yeah, exactly. I always recommend, if someone is trying to decide between a mentor or two, I always recommend, hey, like, get them on the phone. Don't just talk to their salespeople. Like, get someone on the phone, either them or their team, and put all your questions and concerns on them and see how they answer them. Put it all out there. Ask all your questions. Get them all, like, feel really confident. And the person that you get off the phone with, that you're most confident with and that you trust the most, that's your next business coach.
No, 100%. Look, AJ, it has been amazing having you on the episode today. Huge, huge value. And I'm sure so many people that are tuning in will find the information that you've provided them of utmost importance. We'd love to have you on again sometime in the future. But what we're going to do is we're definitely going to post in the show notes the link so people can go and join your group. And I really do recommend that they go and search anybody before they make a purchase decision. Type their name in, to your search bar. And also make sure you hit up AJ directly by tagging him in that group and saying, hey, what do you know about these people? Are there any final thoughts that you would have about that process for people before we end up today?
I just always recommend, a lot of times that conversation that you're talking about happens in big public groups and everyone just kind of posts their fan favorite, right? Like if I was a mentor, my people are going to go in there and be like, hey, I don't really care what you had just asked, but I think you should work with this guy. I think you should really look at specifically what your needs are and not just take blanket recommendations from anybody. When someone reaches out to me, which happens daily, I don't just blanket recommend who I think they should work with, because that doesn't matter. I get a sense of what their needs are, what their budget is, who they've worked with in the past, what their style of coaching is, what kind of attention they want, what kind of support they want. People should realize that this kind of stuff is out there and it's free. So I just think getting inside this group is literally your best way to actually be truly confident in your investment decision before making it.
If you're new to the industry, please don't see one flashy ad and go, I like him or her. I'm just going to go with my gut feeling here. That is the most stupid thing you can do. And if sometimes I'm speaking to someone that's so uninformed about the industry that I know that they're not sure about things, I'll literally end the conversation and say, go and have a look at AJ's group. Don't just look at us, look at other people and make a decision based on being informed. I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can't thank you guys enough for being on here. You guys are very aligned with how we run our community, and I picked up on that since we all met several months ago. But thank you guys for having integrity and having me on. This is amazing.
Thank you very much, AJ. And it's been fantastic hearing your story as well.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll see you guys next time.